2 at a time toe up socks. I love doing 2 at a time so that you don't get all the way done with the project and then you don't feel like making a second sock, right? If you just do 1 at a time. And toe up is great because then you can try on the sock as it goes and make sure it's going to fit your foot. We are going to use a methodology by Knit Freedom, and there are great patterns on the site using this same methodology for regular adult feet in worsted weight and fingering weight sock yarn. This is a super bulky weight yarn. This is Malabrigo Rasta, and you can make a pair of slippers with 1 skein of yarn, which is super, and it comes together very quickly. You can easily knit these up in an afternoon, so they're super if you want a gift for someone, like stocking stuffers or something. We are going to use a 40-inch set of circular needles, and I will assume that you have made a sock before. There is on the Cushion of Joy website, there's a pattern for a little mini practice sock that you can do. This is the exact same method. The main thing we're learning here is how to knit them 2 at a time. I have another video that shows you how to get your yarn bag ready. So you have to create 2 identical skeins of yarn, and then I like to put them into a little bag so that it holds the yarn and they don't get twisted. So like I said, there's another whole video on how to do that. So we're going to cast on with the Turkish cast on, which is the one I like best. And you're going to start by holding both needles pointed to the left and tie a slip knot. And you can do this in the yarn that is on your right and put it at the top. And you're going to wrap around 4 times. 2, 3, 4. And then this is where your mind is going to get just a little bit blown. Just scooch those down just the tiniest bit out of your way. You're going to get the yarn on the left and do the same thing. A slip knot goes on the top needle. Wrap around 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you're going to turn it around. You're going to not lose either one of those. Okay, so this is my second one. I'm just going to kind of keep a hold of it as I go around here so it doesn't fly away. I'm going to get my first one already loaded up as if to knit. I'm going to pull out the bottom needle. I'm going to knit the first 4 stitches. Three, 4. Okay, that was for my first ball of yarn. Now I'm going to take, not the tail end, be careful to get the real yarn, for the second little set of cast-ons. And on my same needle, but with the set of yarn that's attached to this second set of wraps, I'm going to knit those 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now, whoops, loud. Pull that bottom needle through, and turn it over, and push all those stitches back on to your top needle. One in there that's tight. Okay. Now this, your yarn should be straight, so you've got this one going to the right side of your bag, the one from the left set going to the left side of your bag, getting the one on the right set up on my hand. My very first stitch I come to is one of those slip knots. I'm just going to take it off, okay, and hold it around there so it doesn't all come apart. Take out the bottom needle. I'm going to knit again on the first 4 stitches on the top needle. Okay, I'm going to stop. I'm going to put down that yarn. I'm going to pick up the yarn that's on the left side of my bag. The first stitch I come to is that slip knot. I take it off again, take it out, but I kind of tuck it around the yarn. So I'm sure it's my working yarn, so I'm sure it's not going anywhere. And now I knit those 4 stitches, being careful to use the yarn coming out the left side of my bag. Okay, now pull that needle back through again, turn it over so I can get all the stitches pushed back on. Okay. Now my yarn needles, my yarn's backwards, so I'm just going to flip my bag. So then my yarn's not tangled at all. My yarn from the right is coming out the right side of my bag. The yarn from my stitches on the left coming out the left side of my bag. Get my yarn in my right hand, pull out the bottom needle, and knit 4 stitches from the top needle. All right, I put down that yarn for the right batch. I'm going to pick up the working yarn, make sure it's not a tail, pick up the working yarn for my second set of stitches. I'm going to knit those 4 stitches. And this will be the last time. Pull those through again. Flip my bag, my yarn from the right, pull out the bottom needle, knit the first 4 stitches, put down the yarn on the right, pick up the yarn on the left, and knit the next 4 stitches. Pull it through one more time. Turn it over. I'm going to flip my bag at the same time. And now I have, you see 2 little cast on socks coming together. I'm going to put a safety pin over here on this side. I'm going to think about folding it in half this way with the purl stitches into the middle. And this is our cast on then with the knit stitches out. You see it's very beautiful and smooth. I'm going to put 1 safety pin. You don't have to do both socks, just do 1 sock. Put 1 safety pin. It does not have to be in a particular stitch. The beginning of the round is in between the 2 needles. I just need to remember that this end of this sock is the beginning of a round. Right? So then as we do each round, you'll just keep going like we did so far, where you knit across the first sock, get the yarn for the second sock, turn, and you continue working around in a circle like that. So now we are set up to do the increases for our toe, completed our cast on. From here, we're thinking about this folded in half, as I mentioned, with the kind of purl stitches on the inside, knit stitches on the outside. The last stitch we just knit is off this back needle, has the working yarn attached to it. And from here, we're going to think about always pulling out the back needle and knitting into the front needle. On the first row, round 1 of the toe, we're going to do some increases. So we knit 1, and then we're going to make 1 right. Okay. So we pick up the bar in between the stitches with the left needle from behind, knit into the front like usual, go until we have 1 stitch left. Then we're going to make 1 left. Here's our bar. Pick up with the left needle, but then we knit into the back of the stitch and knit the last one. Now we do exactly the same thing on the second needle, remembering always to pick up the other yarn. So here's our other set, folding it carefully so the knit stitches are out, purl stitches are inside. This gets a little easier after it's set up, but the working yarn, last stitch worked, and working yarn on this back part. We're going to knit into the front needle. First one, now we're going to make one right, pick it up from the back, pick up the bar from the back, whoops, and then you're going to knit into the front of that stitch. Knit across until there's one left on your left-hand needle. And then make one left, so pick up from the front, knit into the back. Knit the last stitch. And now you repeat all of that again on the other side. So we're still on round one, but now we're on the second needle for each sock of round one. Kind of left myself comically long tail yarns, which is not helping right now. Okay, there's my working yarn. I'm going to flip my bag over every time to make sure my yarns don't get tangled. Pull out the back. Knit one. Make one right. Knit until there's one stitch left. Make one left. Okay. And then on the same thing on the second needle, being sure to get the correct working yarn. Knit one, make one right. Knit across, there's one left, make one left. And then knit the last stitch. And we know we're back at the beginning because we've reached our safety pin. Our second round, we are just going to knit all the way across. So one full round of just knitting. I'll set up, flip my bags. There you go, knit across. Here I am, the end of round two. I know I've made it all the way because I have my safety pin. I'm going to turn around, flip my bag of yarn over, and rounds 3 and 4 are exactly like rounds 1 and 2 that we just did. I finished rows 3 and 4, and now the pattern varies depending on whether you're doing a small or medium sock or a medium large sock. If you're doing small medium, then you will do another increase row across the front of both socks, but then you'll just knit across the back needle. Okay. If you're doing medium large, then you will do increase rows across both. And when you're done with that, your next step will be just to knit around, just keep knitting until the foot is as long as you want it to be. One of the benefits of knitting toe-up socks is you can try them on as you go. So particularly when you're doing the foot part, you can try it on, pull it up so it feels the amount of snug that you would like, that feels comfortable, then flex your foot, and you want the front part to come right at the crux of your ankle. And when it fits like that, you know you're ready to go on to the next step.